Let me be very clear. Those who seek to blame others are themselves the problem, and we will have zero patience or tolerance of that. This is also a moment to apologise once again to all those who were hurt, to all those who were let down, who no longer felt it was their home, who suffered the most appalling abuse. And I understand that some people won't like the changes that we've made. But I say this with all candour. If you don't like the changes that we've made, I say the door is open and you can leave.
What must happen for the country to finally rise up and declare that we've had enough? We can't endure this any longer. In the UK, it seems we have reached a critical tipping point, with public patience running dangerously thin. Over 3 million people, driven by anger and frustration, have signed a petition demanding a general election. Keir Starmer's leadership has become a complete disaster, and society can no longer remain silent.
Hello, have you signed the petition?
Not yet, no, because you know me, I'm not very technical at stuff like that. I was going to start differently, but it's your show, you do what you want.
Well, let me just reassure you that it's actually really easy, because I don't normally do these things either, but I thought this thing is getting ahead of steam, and I think we've all got to...
At the forefront of this powerful campaign was journalist Isabel Oakeshott, who openly condemned Keir Starmer's careless complacency. She was blunt in her assessment, emphasising that even Nigel Farage, often viewed as controversial, appears a more capable candidate for leadership. Isabel made it clear she stands with those demanding change, and her voice now resonates as a rallying cry for everyone fed up with inaction and incompetence.
I am absolutely with you and the millions of people who think this bloke is a disgrace. He has no plan, he has no conviction, he has no backbone. I don't buy this government at all. It makes me furious with the shambles that was the Tory party. But we cannot fall for the BS that the King is going to get involved. This is not going to change the government. Yes, it will absolutely, Isabel, say to this government, globally and at home, not very popular. It's not going to make any difference, though, is it?
She aligns herself with disillusioned British citizens, supporting their urgent demand for a leader who will not only speak, but act to restore broken trust. In her view, Keir Starmer is simply avoiding responsibility, leaving the nation drowning in chaos and despair. Her words resonate deeply with millions, reflecting the growing frustration of people tired of a leader disconnected from their daily struggles. Isabel has emerged as their voice, bravely speaking the truth even when it rattles Westminster. The petition calling for a general election has become a powerful symbol of public anger for those refusing to tolerate the status quo any longer. A rare moment of unity in a politically divided United Kingdom.
Just ridiculous. I mean, Nigel Farage is one of the most popular politicians in the country. That's why millions of people voted for him and his party at the last election. It's not their fault that the voting system doesn't reflect that in terms of the number of MPs. Nigel Farage is always going to be a much more exciting, interesting, dynamic, charismatic, bright, engaging and yes, divisive figure than Keir Starmer. I mean, I know who I'd choose to have dinner with.
Let's take a closer look at the situation in the UK and the real chaos unfolding. Isabel Oakeshott doesn't just criticise Keir Starmer, she relentlessly dismantles his leadership with sharp, uncompromising remarks. She spares no one, labelling him ineffective and accusing him of steering the country straight toward disaster. The Starmer government, she argues, is built on empty words with no meaningful action, proving incapable of addressing the nation's most urgent problems. Isabel passionately insists that the UK needs real leadership, not hollow promises, and her frustration mirrors the feelings of millions desperately waiting for change.
I'm not, Trump, there are many things about Trump I don't like, but he managed to grab that feeling, and that's what a lot of people are crying out for in this country, aren't they?
And it's absolutely there for the taking for a dynamic politician that is not really dislikable, and that's quite difficult, actually. I mean, almost any dynamic politician, any strident politician, any bold leader is actually also dislikable.
Of course, because they spend all the time trying to be all things to all people. The people like Thatcher and Blair didn't care. They had a plan, they had something set out, and they were going for it, whatever the response. Isn't that true leadership?
People feel their voices have been ignored for far too long, and now they are determined to take control of their own future. This petition is more than just a protest against Starmer. It is a powerful statement of collective will, demonstrating that when enough people demand their rights, they cannot simply be sidelined. The pressing question is how the leader will respond to 3 million people calling for his resignation. So far, his reaction has come across as arrogant and dismissive, only intensifying public anger. By brushing off the issue as trivial, Starmer has not only alienated critics, but also deeply disappointed many of his former supporters, highlighting the growing divide between leadership and the people it serves.
It is, and I think people are just desperate for it in our country. We haven't had those options on the table, have we, in recent elections? Of course, we don't have a presidential system, so people are not voting for a prime minister when they go into the polling booth. They're voting for their local MP. But it just doesn't feel like... I suppose with Boris there was some excitement around him, if we're casting back a few years now. But it just doesn't feel as if there's been someone that everybody, or that a large number of people could rally around and that is selling some hope for our country, because everything's just so negative, isn't it? And, you know, I don't want to be negative all the time. I don't want to be constantly complaining about the direction our amazing country is going.
The government cannot simply ignore this, and Isabel is certain that the petition has finally forced Starmer to pay attention. He must now confront the reality that millions view his leadership as weak and ineffective, a troubling sign that society's patience is wearing thin and people are ready for real change. While the petition alone may not trigger elections, it has opened the door for serious debate at a critical moment, with citizens across the country openly questioning the government's legitimacy and turning this into a powerful call to action. Isabel insists this is a pivotal moment, proof that the UK has spoken loudly about its disappointment with Starmer's failures, and his unwillingness to address the issue only widens the growing divide between the people and the government, a gap that is becoming increasingly difficult to close. Regarding his reaction, Isabel did not hide her anger, accusing him of arrogance and of showing no respect for those who trusted him with their votes. To her, mocking the petition is not merely careless, it is a direct insult to the millions who signed it in hope and belief in change. A sentiment that resonates deeply with many who now feel not just let down, but utterly...
I understand people signing it. I understand the frustration. I'm more interested in saying the 44% of you that did not get your asses out to vote in the last general election are part of the reason we're in this mess. So for God's sake, join, as somebody said earlier, join a party or vote next time. I'm not against the petition, but vote, right? That's important.
Absolutely it is. I mean, if you didn't vote, you can't complain.
No.
And I suppose a lot of people will say, well, there was no point in voting in my constituency because,
There's
you know, this,
vote.
that, the other. But you still got to try and make your voice heard in some way. And actually, where there have been millions of votes that didn't lead to parliamentary seats, that just opens another debate about the voting system. And you and I might disagree on that.
By blocking out those he is supposed to serve, Starmer has shown complete disregard for the frustrations spreading across the nation, and his response has only worsened the crisis, reinforcing why so many now believe he is unfit to lead. With nearly 47 million eligible voters in the UK, more than 3 million have already signed the petition, a clear signal that this should have been a moment for serious reflection. Instead, his dismissive attitude has strengthened the perception that he treats the struggles of millions as little more than an inconvenience. Isabel argues that even if the petition does not directly trigger an election, it stands as undeniable proof that change is now unavoidable.
It's just wrong, and I think if we had a referendum on it again now, I think that there would be a very significant majority for proportional representation, without a doubt. And people will have forgotten there was a referendum on this way back, I think it was 2011, very, very badly run by the proportional representation side of the argument. That would be totally different now. But Labour,
I had an argument with somebody about this over the weekend, actually, and the problem with that is, and you know me, I'm all for it, and I want reform to be successful. Very difficult for us to kick back the whole time about not wanting another Brexit referendum when we're saying we'd like another one on proportional representation. But the truth of the matter is, however it works, you want the people's voice to be heard. But the truth of the matter is, more than anything, get out and vote. Isabel, my thing about the Labour Party is I think they have no plan. However, today, did you watch Liz Kendall, the Work and Pension Secretary, being interviewed by Trevor Phillips at the weekend on Sky?
Isabel's criticism shatters the long-standing silence in UK politics and demands a level of accountability that has been absent for far too long, bringing to light frustrations that many citizens have struggled to express. Her passionate and uncompromising words have transformed her into a symbol for those who feel ignored, abandoned, or sidelined by a government that seems disconnected from the realities of everyday life. She goes further, even suggesting Nigel Farage as a more suitable candidate for Prime Minister, a choice that is sure to spark controversy, yet one she defends with unwavering conviction. In her view, Farage embodies the resilience and determination that Britain desperately needs in these turbulent times. He is unapologetic, bold, and, perhaps most importantly, attuned to the people's concerns, willing to listen and respond to their cries for help rather than dismissing them. Isabel argues that whether one admires him or not, Farage at least demonstrates a readiness to take action and push for meaningful change, something she sees as entirely lacking in Starmer. Britain, she insists, urgently requires strong, visionary leadership capable of steering the nation from uncertainty and stagnation toward clarity and progress. The public needs someone who can confront serious issues head-on, unite citizens across divisions, and make the difficult decisions that leadership demands. In stark contrast, she portrays Starmer as the embodiment of mediocrity, indecision, and inaction, a leader who hesitates when boldness is needed most, leaving the country adrift at a critical juncture. Isabel's perspective invites reflection, debate, and even dissent, urging viewers to consider what kind of leadership the UK truly needs at this defining moment. What are your thoughts on this video? Share your opinions in the comments, and I'll see you there to continue the discussion.